Hi guys, so as you can probably tell, I'm back in the hospital. It wasn't planned by any means. It's been about 2 weeks since my last video, where obviously I was talking about the bad results that I'd had for my scan for the start of the year. So in the last few weeks, a lot has happened. I basically had to wait only a few days to see my consultant after my scan results, my main oncology consultant. It was actually my radiotherapy consultant that gave me the results. So I got the results initially on the Friday, and I had to wait until the Wednesday to see my main consultant, which doesn't sound like a long time, but it was really tough actually, because I think the only thing that's more anxious is actually knowing that you've got the cancer but not knowing what the treatment options are going to be, if any. I think that's probably even worse than waiting for scan results, because when you're waiting for scan results, it's sort of like, well, it could be just good news and everything's fine. Whereas once you've been told that it's not good news, then your mind just kind of goes into overdrive a little bit. I think my main concern was, because I had such a strong chemo before, I wasn't sure what kind of chemo they would give me, if any, and how it was left was basically sort of hanging in the balance of whether they thought it was on the liver as well as the ovary. Then they probably wouldn't do radiotherapy and they'd have to figure out some other kind of drug treatment plan. So in those few days I had in between, I was kind of sort of contacting everyone I could think of, really. I contacted a couple of women I know that actually have my cancer at the moment, one in the UK and one overseas, just to talk to them about what their treatment history has been, and what's kind of working for them. And I also contacted a consultant in the States, who actually I sent a bit of, well, I didn't personally, but got sent a piece of my tumour after my surgery, because they do a lot of research over there, where he basically has like a specialism in my specific cancer. So I emailed him as well to kind of ask about what his thoughts would be and whether there'd be anything different in the States to what I'd get in the UK. So I was a bit frantic really, because I was just panicking. As I say, I didn't really know what my main consultant was going to say, and whether it was going to be a case of, well, we don't want to do radiotherapy because it's on the liver as well, but we don't think chemo is really going to do much. So I was reading a lot into immunotherapy. I have read quite a bit about it before, because so those two women that I speak to that actually have my cancer at the moment are both doing immunotherapy or have done it recently, and have actually had quite good results. And when I got an email back from the consultant in the States, he actually said that that would probably be his first option as well, is immunotherapy. I won't go massively into what immunotherapy is, mainly because I probably wouldn't be able to explain it very well. But it's basically an alternative sort of, I don't know if you call it alternative, but it's different, very different to chemo. And from looking at just a few rare cases that you can find of my cancer, they've had like actually quite good results from using that treatment. Now the only problem with that is that in the UK at the moment, the NHS will not give me that treatment for my cancer. You can have immunotherapy for other types of cancer on the NHS right now, but I don't have the right type of cancer. So the difficulty with that being that to pay for it myself, it's something like £7,000 every 3 weeks, and treatments quite often longer than a year. So needless to say that I was quite stressed out and panicky going into the meeting on the Wednesday to see my main consultant. But actually I came out of that meeting feeling really relieved, because they'd agreed in their multidisciplinary meeting that although they do think it is on the liver as well, that they would do radiotherapy to try and shrink it. And then they would actually try, if they could, to go through my health insurance provider and see if they can actually get some immunotherapy. So that was kind of like the best thing to hear, really, because it was exactly what kind of my thought process was. So I was really happy. I actually came out of that meeting quite happy and quite relieved that we were all on the same page in terms of the treatment and what they think I should do. There is other chemo options if I can't have the immunotherapy, but I think realistically they probably won't be that effective. Obviously you can never really tell for sure, but I just think the immunotherapy gives me a much stronger chance of getting some more time. So the main reason why they've chosen as well to do radiotherapy is the reason why I'm actually back in the hospital right now. I spoke very briefly about some symptoms that I'd been having on my last video, I think, of the constant sort of pressure feeling and problems with the bowels. Now, between last Wednesday and today, which is just over a week, it's now Saturday, I have just like literally been going through hell. Basically having so many problems with pain, like an ache, like a really, really strong aching pain, all across my lower back, accompanied by the fact that I was constantly, and I mean like constantly, feeling that I need to go to the toilet, which was getting me up all throughout the day, but also all through the night. So for like a week, it actually got worse really quite quickly, and it just got to the point where yesterday, Friday, when I came and saw my radiotherapy consultant, just for a general sort of check to see how I was getting on, because I actually started radiotherapy on Thursday. So after my first session, I was due to see her just to see how things were going. And I was so exhausted that I basically couldn't even walk. I could walk a bit, but I had to have a wheelchair when we got to the hospital. My husband actually had to put me in a wheelchair to wheel me around to actually see the consultant. And when I got in the room, I was just like crying. I was just so desperate. Sorry, I keep blinking because I'm on these strong painkillers now and it's making me really sleepy. Yeah, just absolutely desperate. This pain that I just could not get away from. I couldn't lay down, I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand. It didn't matter what position I was in, there was just no relief from it whatsoever. I was using like hot water bottle on myself all the time, just trying to really do everything that I could. But because of that, and because of obviously constantly getting up to try and go to the toilet even when I didn't really need to go, that just kind of like put me off my food as well. So I was like hardly eating anything, which obviously didn't help with the tiredness. So I just basically got absolutely exhausted. So yeah, when I saw my consultant yesterday, she said, you know, we really need to keep you in over the weekend because we need to get this under control. Because obviously the radiotherapy is basically you go every day, Monday to Friday. The actual treatment itself hardly takes any time at all. You're probably only in the room for sort of 15 minutes, if that. But obviously travel time as well, it's sort of about an hour each way for us. And as I say, that's every day. So I'm having 10 fractions, so 10 sessions basically, which is just to try and relieve symptoms. They're not obviously trying to cure anything, because normally you would do radiotherapy for quite a bit longer. When I did it last time, I did it for like 6 weeks. But yeah, to do that obviously and to go all through next week and some days the following week, the state I was in yesterday, I would just not be able to do it. I can't really explain how I felt. I mean, I did think about doing a video, but to be honest, I didn't think I'd even get through a video because I was just constantly shifting around, getting up, getting down. I was like just crying. Just terrible. I don't know if anyone else out there has had symptoms similar to that, but it is just horrendous. It probably doesn't sound like it's that bad, like lower back pain and constant need of going to the toilet. But after like a week of that, you just, as I say, get so exhausted, you just don't know what to do with yourself. There's just literally nothing you can do. Like the painkillers that I had, I was taking paracetamol, which obviously didn't do anything. And I even started taking some ibuprofen, which I really shouldn't take because I'm on blood thinners. But I was just so desperate. But nothing really made a difference. They gave me some Oromorph on Thursday when I came for my first radiotherapy treatment, because when I was waiting to go in for my treatment, I was literally like rocking in my chair, which I know sounds really crazy. But yeah, it just got to that stage where it's just like I just couldn't sit still, and I was just like trying to do anything to try and make myself feel better, like rocking like side to side like this, because it's like right at the base of the spine and like right across the bottom of the back. So yeah, so long story short is they've admitted me for the weekend. I'm pretty sure they've put me on a higher dose of that Oromorph, because I was only having 5 milliliter, like one little spoon at home, and here they're giving it to me like in a syringe type thing, which I squirt into my mouth. But I think they're probably giving me a higher dose because I'm only having it every 4 hours. And when they gave it to me, I could have a spoonful every 2 hours. So I don't know if maybe what they're doing is giving me a bigger dose and then leaving longer in between. Because thank God that I'm actually feeling so much better from 24 hours ago. I can't even explain it. So I've been having this, as I say, a higher dose of this Oromorph, and having it really regularly, because obviously being in the hospital, they come on the set time to make sure you have it. And yesterday evening, I actually finally got some sleep, which was just such a relief and just made such a difference. It was still a broken sleep, but still it was some sleep, because I literally feel like I haven't even slept, like had a proper 1 hour sleep in the last week before that. And then over the night, I did have to get up about 2:30 because they did bloods quite late, about 10 o'clock at night, and when the results came back, my potassium was really low. So then at like 2:30 in the morning, they were trying to put a cannula in, which was a bit of a nightmare because my veins are just terrible at the best of times. So there was a bit of jabbing going on. Took quite a few attempts, but they managed to get it in. The potassium was just like an IV, but it has to run for 8 hours. But to be fair, because of the time of night, it didn't really bother me because the drugs were like kind of knocking me out to sleep. So I just literally laid there and didn't even move. And then today I've managed to eat some food rather than just dry crackers, which is pretty much what I've been having. Dry toast and dry crackers. And yeah, I'm just feeling, I mean, obviously I still feel rough. Don't get me wrong. I need to have that painkiller every 4 hours because I feel it starting to wear off after about 3 hours. They're also going to give me another pill at 10 o'clock. I'm not sure. They have told me what it's called, but I can't remember, to help me sleep as well today. So hopefully, if I don't have to get off for like a cannula or anything like that, because they have left it in, but it's whether it will still work, whether they need it for anything, I don't know in the night. Hopefully not. Then I might even get even a better night's sleep than I did yesterday, which would just be amazing. The plan is hopefully just to stay over the weekend, and then on Monday after my treatment, to go back home again and then just continue coming in daily for my treatment. That's the plan, that's the hope. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I can't even explain how relieved I am that I'm actually starting to feel better. Yeah, I would have really liked to have done a video while I was going through that, but like even picking up the phone to try and do it, I just couldn't sit still. So it probably wouldn't have worked. So probably just saying it now, you're not really getting like the whole picture of how crap I felt. But yeah, so yeah, I'm so grateful that I'm feeling better. And yeah, so basically the plan is to continue with this radiotherapy, as I say, 10 sessions. And in the meantime, my main consultant is going to try and speak to my healthcare company to see if they will authorise this immunotherapy. So that is a massive issue. Because as I say, if they don't, I don't know what we're going to do. I know someone else who crowdfunded for it and managed to actually get the money and pay for it themselves. So that is an option, even though I don't know if that would work. I'm just really hoping that they do authorise it though, because if anyone's going to convince them that there's a possibility it could work, it's definitely my main oncology consultant. So I completely trust that she's going to do everything she can to get that sorted for me. But again, it's just a waiting game. That was really stressing me out before, but I think now, because I was just feeling so rough, I kind of put it to the back of my mind a little bit. But yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. I think probably at some point next week I'll probably check in with her just to see if she's managed to contact them and what's happening, because say it's only 10 sessions of radiotherapy, so it's only going to be another week and a half until I finish that. And then I really obviously want to get into treatment as soon as possible. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I also have to say that I'm really fortunate in terms of this room that I've got. I'm at the Royal Marsden in Sutton. And this room is just amazing. I mean, I can just kind of flip around to show you. I don't know if you really get an idea of the size. But you've got like a wardrobe there. 2 windows. It goes right round. So obviously you've got your TV and everything. It goes right round to the other corner there as well. And then there's a bathroom, which is almost the same size as this room. Absolutely huge. I think this room is actually designed for a wheelchair user. But yeah, maybe it was like the only one that was free, I'm not sure. But it is amazing how much difference it makes just to actually have your own room as well, rather than being on a ward. Because obviously if you're rushing to the toilet, or it's just more relaxing basically. Which is what I really need to do, is just try and relax over the next couple of days and recuperate and get my strength up a little bit. I've also got, I just say quickly, they asked me yesterday whether I wanted a normal mattress or an air mattress, which I kind of went with my husband's opinion, because he works in recruitment, but recruitment for like mobility companies and companies that actually sort of supply these types of things to hospitals. And he said definitely, you know, the airbed is probably going to be more helpful. And the nurses have said that most people really don't like them and can't sleep on them. Because basically, rather than just being a standard airbed, I don't know how it works, but when you lay on it, it like slightly moves around, not constantly, but it like slightly shifts. I think it's to stop any like pressure building up from the way that you're laying. And I also think that's made a huge difference. Huge difference, because at home I couldn't lay on my back at all. It's just way too uncomfortable. Too uncomfortable to sleep on my side or my front as well. Whereas here I've actually managed to lay on my back, slightly sitting up, and just sleep like that, which is just incredible at the moment. It sounds like a really basic thing, being able to just lay down and have a sleep, but it really hasn't been for me for the last week or so. So that's been amazing. So I'm just so grateful that, as I say, I've been managed to obviously get this such a high level of care basically at such short notice, because it obviously wasn't planned for me to stay. But But yeah, definitely if anyone out there is having any problems with like pain or anything like that, and you do go into hospital and have that option, I would definitely say try it. You might need to get used to it. I actually had one when I was in the ICU. So I had experienced it before, though I was quite out of it then. Obviously, if it's not for you, I'm sure they'll probably change it. But I would definitely say to try and use it, because it really does make a massive difference. You're not having to shift around in the bed at all. You can literally lay still and the bed just slightly moves around you to support you and relieve pressure points and things like that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. I feel like I'm rambling quite a lot. So I'm going to just leave it there for today. I also want to say thank you for everyone that's messaged, kind of checking to see how I am. All the support I get, it does make a huge difference. It really does, because a lot of the time over the last week it's just got to that point where it's just one of those times when you just think like, I just want to give up. Like, this is just, I can't. You literally just feel like you can't take it anymore. So having support behind you, although it can't relieve physical pain, it helps you to keep going mentally and just to push yourself to say, you know, you've got to keep going, because if I don't do the radiotherapy treatment, then it's not going to shrink it. It's only going to grow more and make the symptoms worse. So it's just trying to get over that. So yeah, thank you to everyone for that. So yeah, I'm going to go now, because I'm sort of falling asleep. But yeah, I'll probably next week, when I'm back into radiotherapy from Monday, I'll try and do another video which talks a bit about the radiotherapy experience for anyone who's not had it, just to know what to expect and how it goes. And hopefully hear something about this immunotherapy. So take care everyone, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.